ultimately what he made me realize is that opportunity is very limited if you don't think bigger. Right. And I think that was one of the biggest things he kind of told me was you earned the right for this opportunity to kind of decide what your next step was. Mm-hmm. And he was 100% correct in one thought, that even at Coldwell Banker, I've already had discussions with the leadership there that there really wasn't a lot of room for growth for me. They are a franchise, but it's not like the opportunities that you receive here at Keller Williams.
Welcome to the Profit Share Mastery Podcast with your hosts, Linda and Press McKissack.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Profit Share Mastery. I'm Linda McKissack.
And I'm Press McKissack.
Hey, Press. How are you?
Good. How are you doing today, Linda?
For a change, we're together.
I know. We're up here in Dayton, Ohio. You could only stay away from the grandkids for so long.
That's it. It's only so long.
All right. Well, we've got a pretty amazing guest with us today, someone that we know personally and also in business with.
Yep. And
that is Mr. Josh Boatman. Josh, how are you?
Doing all right, Press. How are you?
Good. So we are excited to bring on Josh. We've this podcast is going to be a little different, maybe than our normal ones. We've got an exciting announcement, but before we get to that announcement, we first wanted to bring on Josh and talk about his story. And he's got a pretty amazing journey of how he got here to Keller Williams. That when you and I talk about Josh's story, you can see a lot of what we teach in our course. And so it'll be fun to kind of walk through that with him as he tells it. So Josh, I'm going to kick it over to you. Tell everyone who you are and what you do, and then your journey to get into where you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Joshua Boatman, and I'm the Regional Technology Director for the Keller Williams Ohio Valley region. And before that, I was actually the Director of Technology for one of the largest Coldwell Banker franchises in the Ohio area. We had around 14 offices with about 450 agents. And I was there for about, I hate to think about it sometimes, 15 years. So I started when I was 7.
So, that's right. So, Josh, you kind of talk about like you were at Caldwell. What was your experience there in terms of like what your exact role was? Like, what'd you do with agents? Like, what'd you learn while you were there? Some of your biggest takeaways?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So my biggest role at Coldwell Banker was just to help agents embrace technology. The thing I love about the real estate industry and agents in particular is that ultimately they don't need technology to sell real estate. Real estate has been bought and sold for years before a CRM or email or the fax machine and all those different things. But what I really enjoyed about my job was you got to take a bunch of high-level, high-thinking, driven people and figure out how technology could fit into their business and ultimately give them more time in their day that they could, hopefully either use to generate more money or spend time with their family or, go to the horse races like my mentor, Rick Eben, likes to do.
I love it. And, one of the things that about Josh, and you can hear it in his introduction that he just gave, is he has a passion for the real estate agent. And when I was recruiting agents from Coldwell Banker, every time I would recruit an agent, Josh's name would come up. I mean, literally, I'm like, who the heck is this Josh guy? And so for our students that are on the call, that we always talk about, influence is very important and being valid is super important, right? Your validity is super important. And so whoever Josh was, he had a lot of influence and a lot of validity. And so I remember, Press, you were looking for a regional tech because it was a brand new role for our region. And I woke up in the middle of the night, 2 or 3 a.m., can't remember when, shot straight up in bed. And I said, Josh, we have to call Josh. And I remember Jimmy saying, who is Josh? And then I immediately sent you a message.
Yeah, that was probably a frightening moment for Jimmy.
Jimmy got nervous. He thought our 40-year streak might be ending over Josh, right? However, I immediately got a hold of you and said, wait a minute, you're looking for somebody in the technology department. And because guys, when recruiting is top of mind, these are the kind of things that happen to you. You think of someone in the middle of the night, you see the opportunity. And so I immediately reached out to you and said, hey, we need to get a hold of Pam, who actually has a really good relationship with Josh. And we need to see if we can get an interview with Josh. And so I think that's a beautiful story that you told Josh about the agent, because our heart is with the agent and we could immediately tell that you were a great match for us because your heart was with the agent also.
Yeah. So Josh, why don't you talk a little bit about, you and I always love to talk about the phone call that I made to you. Talk a little bit about that phone call that day and where you were, what you were doing, your thoughts on
Well,
it.
it's actually such a funny story because when Pam Bornhorst reached out to me, she's like, "Hey, not trying to recruit you away from Keller Williams, but would you be interested in meeting with
Away
Press
from
McKissack?"
Coldwell.
And I was at first I was like, "Sure," because my grandpa used to always say, "Hey, don't ever turn down a phone call." But I do remember the first thing I thought when I hung up the phone was like, "Who is Press McKissack, and why would someone call his what is he, President McKissack?" I didn't understand that Press was his first name.
You're
But
like that arrogant guy. What the
I'm
heck?
thinking like I got to call him Press McKissack. I'm never working there. And then ultimately we ended up having a phone call, and it's actually one of those weird moments where I kind of went in there. I was at Coldwell Banker 15 years, extremely happy, great company, worked with a lot of great people, and I really wasn't expecting to make a change. But honestly, that 30-minute phone call with Press changed my life because later I learned that it was a bunch of CV techniques that you learn through through Keller Williams and things like that. But ultimately, what he made me realize is that opportunity is very limited if you don't think bigger, right? And I think that was one of the biggest things he kind of told me was you earned the right for this opportunity to kind of decide what your next step was. And he was 100% correct in one thought, that even at Coldwell Banker, I've already had discussions with the leadership there that there really wasn't a lot of room for growth for me. They are a franchise, but it's not like the opportunities that you receive here at Keller Williams.
That's awesome. So
I love it. And a couple of things out of that, Josh. Number one, you said, I since learned that he actually did a process called career visioning that we're taught at Keller Williams. But here's the beautiful thing. A lot of people are taught that career visioning process. And we say in our course all the time, this is one of the greatest tools we've ever been given, because it's such an opportunity to let someone really understand who they are at a high level. It's a great gift, whether you bring them to your company or not. And yet so many people, Josh, don't even bother to take people through it because it's a big commitment on your part to take someone through it.
Yep.
So what I love is, yes, it is a process that Keller Williams is taught, but a lot of people won't use it. And the truth is, it is a great gift. And then we got great gifts out of it because not only did Josh joining us change our lives, but we changed his life with the opportunity to be at a place where he could have a next level of opportunity and he could do what he loved at a higher level. So remember, when you're recruiting somebody, you're doing something for them, not to them.
That's right.
And you don't even know what great value you might be adding to yourself because they joined the organization.
Yeah, that's right. Well, since then, Josh has been in the regional technology director role for, a year and some change, year and a half almost, I think now.
That's right.
And so we've been fortunate as we've gotten to know Josh and kind of see his skill set that Josh has a pretty amazing mind. I would say I have a kind of a design mind of like, I know what I want and I can kind of tell you what I want to look like. And Josh has this ability to say like, oh, I can help bring that to life and actually build it. And it's been through that partnership that we started talking about a vision that Linda and I had, which is back in 2017, my good friend Nick and I built a agent recruiting website. And if you've taken our course, you know the story and you've heard it through our trainings. But it took a lot of time, effort, energy, technical ability, frankly, that I honestly didn't really have at the time. I just figured it out. But most of that, since Nick and I have built our site, I know maybe less than 5 people who've gone and done the same thing because it's a barrier to entry that most agents are not willing to do. So in talking with Josh, he was around us, he heard us talk, and I kept bringing up this idea of an agent recruiting websites. And then I think, Josh, if I remember correctly, you came up to me at one point and was like, hey, I think I can help make this a reality. I think we could actually do this. And so we are excited to announce on this call. I told you we had a special surprise. And that is that over the last few months, Josh has been helping take our idea of individual agent recruiting sites and actually turn it into reality. And we are now officially ready to start opening up to those in Keller Williams who want to do what Nick has done. And by the way, you want to tell everyone Nick's success from last year?
Yeah, I think he was number 2 in the whole company, right? 165. Yep. He got the second place for growth award
in the whole company. 165 agents recruited in 1 year using the system that we're talking about right now. And so Josh took that concept and he he helped us build it in a way that it was something we could offer to any Keller Williams agent that wanted to participate in it. I call it the easy button for new agent recruiting. And so Josh, thank you for your partnership. And we are super excited that we're ready to roll, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great opportunity for everyone. One of the things I always just kind of want to point out what's really unique about the process that we've taken with what Nick and Press have done is we've taken this automated system where we have a bunch of white labeled content that it actually looks like you're generating this content and you're reaching those touch points with your future recruits. We do have, real quick, I'll just plug it. Here's my opportunity. We have 2 versions. If you just want the basic front end site, we have that. But as Press likes to say, the real secret sauce is within the automation process on the back end. And we've made that just as easy as you can. Click a button, you send your recruits to that site, and it does the rest.
That's right. And what's, the process that Nick and I built, and I wish we could take credit for it, but we got to give credit where credit's due. Brent Mitchell and Aaron Kaufman, you guys are, hopefully they're listening to our podcast. We have to give you all the credit because you pioneered this idea of internet recruiting for new agents. And, Nick's just done the work and he's, reaping the benefits of just doing what you guys said to do.
And you've taken what you and Nick have learned from Brent and you've actually plussed it and added things as you've learned things along the way. So that's the beauty of us all willing to share with each other is we just keep making things better and making it available to lots of other people. Yeah, that's right. And probably my favorite thing about this whole process is the fact that most any business you get into, most of the time you're fishing for leads, right? Like you're making phone calls, you're having to go hit the ground and go generate leads. Well, what's amazing about this system is like the recruits schedule calls with Nick. Mm-hmm. So Nick wakes up, every Sunday he gets up and he looks at his calendar for the week and he has appointments that have already He gets up about 2 that day, probably.
Yeah, 2 in the afternoon, probably. and looks at it, living the life. Looks at his schedule for the week and he sees all these appointments that have been booked with him using a pretty amazing process that Josh and I have built into our recruiting sites that we're now offering. So Josh, why don't we talk through some of the people are going to hear this and think this is amazing. I love this concept, but what exactly am I getting? So why don't you talk a little bit about what did we actually build for people? What are we providing so that they can benefit from recruiting new people?
Well, I mean, honestly, it's just the end-to-end solution just for profit share mastery recruiting of new agents, right? It's the opportunity to be able to send people to a front-end website that will then allow them to self-select where they are in the real estate journey, right? Are they a new agent? Are they in school? Are they an experienced agent? And based upon those choices, it will then add them to different email campaigns as well as immediately alert you that you have a potential new recruit. Now, some of the automation that's really built into it is going to be, we are right now, I believe the number is around 35 emails that we send over a 6-month period that is tailored to their journey, right? So there'll be different emails for the agent that's not in school versus the one that is in school. In addition to that, we help you set up your calendar system that Nick uses, where you can then select which time frame you want to be available, right? You can say, hey, I'm only going to accept appointments on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between these time frames, and then they can select those appointments for you to be automatically notified. In addition to that, we've taken 3 ebooks that Press, Anna, and I believe Nick have written, and we've white labeled them. So you constantly have some source of value you're providing your recruits, right? So it's just not generic emails that are going to say, hey, are you still interested in real estate? It's going to say, hey, check out how you can, get your first closing in 90 days. Check out how you can read this ebook on 6 steps to 6 figures. We have different articles that we're constantly linking back to the website, which I think is really valuable because everyone understand this. It's your own custom website. Every contact form on this site is going to link back to you. So if they stumble across your email 6 months later, that link is going to go back to you. If they forward that email, like, hey, check out this article, that is going to link back to you. So they're always staying within the ecosystem of your brand within the Profit Share Mastery.
Love it. Love it.
Awesome. So the next thing is to tell you, I know naturally the next question is going to be, okay, awesome. Where do I go find out more information? How do I sign up? If you go to profitsharemastery.com, same place that you would go for our Profit Share Mastery course, which, by the way, Linda, we now have, we've had over 500 people go through.
Awesome.
Which is pretty amazing. So we just passed an awesome milestone we're really excited about.
And those 500 people are still with us every single month because
right.
we have our monthly Q&A calls and success stories and challenge calls every single month that they all jump on, and we all learn and grow together.
Yep, that's right. So if you just go to profitsharemastery.com, if you haven't been there in a little while, you'll see kind of a new look and feel. We're really tailored around helping people with the information, the knowledge to be great at recruiting, whether it's new or productive agents. And then at the same time, start offering you the tools you need to be able to do it at a high level. And so that's where you can find more information about our recruiting sites.
And, I would say, Press, what perfect timing with K-Score coming out. This is a perfect opportunity, a perfect solution to how do you do that and how do you work with that?
And we've built, Josh, I don't know if you want to touch on that, but what's cool about our sites is we've built in our sites, we've built them with K-Score in mind in the areas that it's currently available, because it's not available in every state. And so when recruits go to your site and they're clicking on your content and like they're in the states that apply to them, like let's say, for example, they're getting licensed in Texas, you can have the option for K-Score to show up right on that page versus if you're in Ohio, we don't have K-Score yet. So they're not going to find K-Score on the Ohio page.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And that'll be up to you as well. For the listeners out there, you get to decide if you want to feature K-Score or just feature Real Estate Express. And I think one of the actual exciting things that kind of came up over the last couple of days as me and Press talked about this, when you sign up for that affiliate link through Real Estate Express, I don't know if you want to talk about this a little bit as well, Press, but Press and Nick, because of that affiliate link, actually have been generating enough money that basically pays for the Profit Share Mastery recruiting site, which I think is just such a huge thing to take advantage of.
Yeah, that's a great way for them to get reimbursed back for what they're paying for the sites. That's awesome. I didn't even think about that.
Yep, that's right. Well, Linda, any last minute thoughts?
Yeah, I would say a couple of things. One, Josh, you're just the gift that keeps giving. I'm so thankful. And what I would say to our audience is, and if you've taken our course, we talk a lot about this, but don't ever pre-decide. I mean, I think most people who would think about recruiting Josh to the company would look and say, oh, there's no way. He's been there 15 years. He's the golden child for all the agents with the technology. There's no way that man would let that kind of star go. But if you pre-decided, you'd miss out on a gift that just keeps giving. So Josh, thank you. Our lives changed the day you joined us, and hopefully we'll keep changing your lives. And we want our audience to know that when you help someone see if Keller Williams is a fit for them, you give them the possibility of a great gift, and you also get a gift along the way. So I'm going to just say, any last words, Press, or Josh, you want to add to what we have here?
Well, I'll just say for me personally, it's been coming to Keller Williams has legitimately changed my life. And what it's done for me, it's given me an opportunity to start to change the lives of the people around me as well. So, and I think that's the beauty of Keller Williams is, yes, it's changing my life and I'm changing yours, but I'm also able, the people I care about, my friends and family, because of this opportunity, I'm starting to be able to change their life as well. And hopefully they'll change lives along the journey as well.
Love it. Love it. So just remember, if you have not done it already, please hit subscribe below. And we would love for you to pass this podcast along to anyone in Keller Williams that does not know about our podcast so far. It drops on the 21st of every single month. And as Press said, if you're interested in our Profit Share Mastery course or one of these sites personally for you, be sure and go to profitsharemastery.com. And Press, I guess I'll see you on the 21st of next month.
All right. See you then.
Thank you, Josh. See you.
Thanks, Josh.